From an offensive line perspective, this might be Veach's best offseason. He's put together this offensive line. They can absolutely protect. When you see how good this offense can be, as good as the Buccaneers can be, I think the Chiefs here have the better option.
Okay, that is music to their ears. Consider what happened in last year's Super Bowl. And by the way, speaking of the Super Bowl champs, can we talk about this? Earlier this week, Tom Brady said he would trade 2 Super Bowl rings for 1 perfect season. So, Wednesday on Greeny asked Rob Gronkowski if he'd make that trade.
I don't want to trade in any because I think there's a chance, in my life to be on a team like that. So I don't feel like I don't have to trade in any Super Bowl rings. So I see in the future that I have a chance, to be on a team like that. So I ain't trading any rings in. I just got to keep going for it.
So Gronk thinks it can happen. Jeff, what do you think of Gronk's comments?
I disagree on both counts. Look, if I'm Gronk, I'm giving one up for an undefeated season. The only time I've ever been mad at Bill Polian was when he pulled everybody against the New York Jets when we had the chance. We ended up losing the Super Bowl that year, but I would have done that. I do not see it happening. Listen, as good as you are to carry this thing 20 weeks, 17 regular season games, just don't think that's possible. As good as the Bucs look on paper, you got to play the games week in and week out. I don't see it happening, so I disagree on both counts.
So, Dan, certainly there's a possibility, right? Don't you think?
I ran the numbers. This is the percentage chance that the Buccaneers go 20-0. This right here, it's 0.
Wow, that's a pretty fancy
0.
computer you have there. Nice.
Error is 0. Look, you can't. 16-0. We remember the 16-0 Patriots, right? From 07. That's as good a team and as dominant a team as we can remember in our football lifetimes. They couldn't finish it off. Like it is, and now you have to win an extra game. So, no, I don't see it. Look, the Buccaneers were a very good team last year. They got incredibly hot in December and January and won the Super Bowl. They'll be a Super Bowl contender again, but the NFC is not a pushover. I mean, there are very good teams in the West. The Saints are probably still going to be tough in the South. Look, 20-0 is. I think the Buccaneers could repeat. I don't think they will. I think they could. 20-0 is just too much to ask.
Okay, so Bard, there was a man who once said, "So you're saying there's a chance?" Are we just dumb and dumber when we say that?
Yeah, I think we're being really dumb and naive to think that a bunch of guys that are full. The good thing is they brought the whole squad back. The bad thing is they brought the whole squad back.
That's right.
It's going to be tremendously hard to keep that focus for 17 weeks. Everybody there is hungry. They're going to be doing local commercials.
During an appearance at the Houston Touchdown Club on Wednesday. Now, you say all the good things to boosters. So according to the audio obtained by the Houston Chronicle, Fisher was asked what it would take to beat Alabama other than the retirement of the 69-year-old Nick Saban. And here's what he said. "We're going to beat his bloop when he's there. Don't worry. Eventually, that's going to be us. I respect everything they do and how they do it, but we can do it just as good or be just as good or better, and we will." And Nick Saban responded. Listen.
In golf?
I think he meant on the football field.
Well, I'm sure there'll come a day, But is that what he was talking about?
Yeah,
football?
He was talking about football.
Oh, he was? Well, he used to be on my noontime basketball league, I guess. We're no longer partners.
That is my favorite comment of the day, other than linemen have feelings. That's why we had to bring in Paul Feinbaum to talk about this. Paul, what is your reaction to that?
Well, I think Jimbo Fisher is smarter than all of us. I've heard all of the commentators up and down the dial say, "Oh, that was stupid. You don't poke the bear." What difference does it make, Ryan? Jimbo Fisher has met Nick Saban 4 times as a head coach, 1 at FSU and 3 at A&M. He's lost by 23 points. What's Saban going to say? Well, I'm going to beat him by twice that? I mean, that's absurd. And don't forget something else. Jimbo Fisher is has got a $75 million contract, and he's speaking in Texas where he works. You don't go up to the podium in Houston, Texas with your head down and your tail tucked and say, "No, we can't beat old Coach Saban." No, you say exactly what he said. He has already won in this round.
And he has certainly won in Texas. So, Bart, what do you think?
I mean, listen, I love the swag, right? I came here to the AFC East with a coach that said he didn't come to kiss Bill Belichick rings. So listen, you don't come in here, you don't go in the Lions Den and sneak in. You go in there screaming and chanting, and you look for the banshee. Listen, and understand, after Jimbo said that statement, he passed a collection plate around, and he said, "I need some tithes and offerings for the congregation."
That's
so
right.
he was able to raise some money there and excite some people in the crowd. That's what it's all about. Who cares what Nick Saban says and about his response? You know it was coming, but he was able to get some money and get some swag for his program and some attention because we're talking about him here.
See, I kind of love that. But then, Jeff Saturday, I also think about this. They're going to be talking about those comments over and over again late. It's going to be billboard material in Alabama. Is he poking the bear in a way maybe he shouldn't have?
Absolutely. Listen, sometimes you got to be a spy, dog. Slide in quietly and then take your wins. Don't go in there making everybody upset. This thing will be on their bulletin board from tomorrow until the end of the season, man. Like, understand what you're doing. I get he's down in Texas. He wants to get rowdy and get all the boys to give money and do all the things that Bart and Paul are saying. All that is true. But, hey, listen, getting there is one thing. Staying there is another thing. When he talked about golf, that's the biggest shot you're going to see from Saban. When that man put that on you, I absolutely love it. That was a fantastic comeback in reply. But don't poke the bear, man, till you know you're ready and you're armed and his back is turned to you. Now you got him facing you. You don't want that action, boss.
So, Paul, can they become the next Alabama, as Jimbo is saying? Can they do that?
They most certainly can because, first of all, Jimbo has already won a national championship. Nick Saban hired him at LSU as the offensive coordinator. He tried to hire him again when he went to Alabama, but he couldn't pull it off. Jimbo Fisher is an elite coach. He's one of the top 5 coaches in the country. And Nick Saban, everyone thinks he's invincible, but he does turn 70 on how.
So guys are still great with their minds and their spirit about the rest of the season and obviously we're fighting for playoffs, and tomorrow's probably the biggest game. That's the East game, so guys are still optimistic, and we're still fighting. And guys' spirits are still high.
Okay, so the spirits are high, but are this team's playoff hopes? Starting tonight on ESPN against Portland, the Lakers have 6 games remaining on their schedule. They're favored in 4 of those 6 contests, but they only have a 56% chance to earn a top 6 spot in order to avoid the play-in tournament. Jay Will's with us now to talk about Laker troubles. Okay, so Jay Will, LeBron is banged up. Now Anthony Davis is banged up. On a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of really contending to win the championship, are you worried about the Lakers?
10.
Whew.
It's 10. And that's the reality of where we are. Truncated season. People thought LeBron James was going to load manage. Hasn't load managed. Now dealing with the high ankle sprain. That doesn't go away, man. You deal with that for the rest of the season. That only heals in the offseason after having multiple months to go to therapy for that. AD banged up. How is he going to handle? By the way, he still had that Achilles injury he came back with. Dennis Schroeder out for 10 to 14 days. 10 to 14 days for a guy that is probably your 3rd leading scorer on this team. So, yes, you're worried about them. A big-time game tonight against the Portland Trail Blazers. They could be in that play-in scenario. They will be in that play-in scenario. And in your first round, you're telling me you have to go against the Utah Jazz or the Phoenix Suns? I know those teams don't want to see the Lakers, but those teams at full health going against the injury-prone Lakers, they're going to smell blood in the water, and they're going to have home